Welcome to another episode, everyone. OG Mexican from LA explains why the Mexicans don't like blacks in Los Angeles. And he's talking about whether or not we will ever be able to bridge the gap and come together, black and brown, in California and LA. And, this conversation has been going on for some time on the internet, recently. This is King Supreme TV. Shout out to King Supreme TV. He covers a lot of this stuff. He's on top of a lot of this stuff. He speaks about a lot of this stuff on his channel. Go check him out. Here he's reacting to Alex Alonso, Street TV, and this OG Mexican right here who, again, he has some things to say about black and brown in California and Los Angeles and the problems that he has with that. And the title here is OG Mexican speaks on why they don't like blacks in Los Angeles. King Supreme TV. Check this out.
I don't know what the future is for these relations. I remember listening to Tariq Nasheed, the brother that talks a lot about race. And I think he is completely don't believe that anything could ever occur on a positive level in terms of bridging the gap and making the relationship between these two sides, strong. I
would actually have to agree with him. I don't like anything that man says. I will be completely honest with you. He's got people thinking that they're indigenous, and he's only reading part of what history is.
These are all, man, Tariq Nasheed got people thinking that blacks are indigenous. Sonny,
we are
Mexicans
indigenous.
Don't know anything outside of California and Texas.
We are indigenous, bro. We were here before anyone was here in America. It dates back to thousands of years. Black people was on American soil before the Indians even. Christopher Columbus did not found America. And the Hispanics have been here for some time. They had a few states, Los Angeles, or California, Arizona. But so he says that he agrees with Tariq Nasheed that Alex Alonso starts off saying, so Tariq Nasheed said that there'll never be, we'll never really be able to bridge this gap between black and brown. And I don't know if Tariq Nasheed is saying everywhere or just LA and California, probably everywhere though, because they have an anti-black culture. So he says, I don't like him. I don't like Tariq Nasheed. I agree. I don't agree with anything he says, but I agree with that. So you don't agree with anything Tariq Nasheed says, not surprisingly, but you do agree with the part that when he said that we may never be able to bridge this gap between black and brown. You agree with that part, but you don't agree with nothing else he says. Got it.
Listen, let me tell you something, Sonny. East of the Mississippi River,
stupid narratives and this and that, it's never going to get fixed.
Business. You guys come from Africa. The Rasa was already here, fool.
Bridging the gap and making the relationship between these two sides, strong. I
would actually have to agree with him. I don't like anything that man says. I will be completely honest with you.
The last thing you want to be doing is getting into shootouts with the brothers, right? Your priority right now is to sell this sack, to make this money, and to either help your family out or give the money whoever it's owed to. And you can't be doing that when you're in shootouts every other week, a couple times a month. That cannot be accomplished.
Right. No, I understand.
So even from an economic side, right? From the business side, from the economic side, even though we're talking about the underground economy, it doesn't make sense to continue to have these conflicts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're always going to have conflict and warfare, right? And I had a black...
late 40s, early 50s, there were blacks there. But then Mexicans took it all over. And one black lady, I don't know how she ended up moving in there. I think it was Section 8. And they firebombed her.
Yeah, no, I know all about that. Right, like right now where we live.
There's a lot of cities in California where you don't have these issues. So I'm not going to say that every city in California is like this. Because from the outside looking in, people will say, oh, man, California. Listen, California can get racial when you.
California is very racial. It's very racist. It's very racist politics in prison, and you'll find a lot of Hispanics essentially saying, and King Supreme had alluded to this earlier in his podcast, that it stems from prison, or the relationship is fractured there in prison, and since it's fractured there in prison, it sort of leads to the street. But that's not covering the problem. The problem is that they have an anti-black culture. It's not just but it's not gang members and gangs that are going at it. Mexican gangs and black gangs, yes, they go at it, but it's not because of gang warfare per se. It's more a racial issue that stems from an anti-black culture. So it's not focused just on gangs. It's focused on black people in general. And Alex Alonso's argument that it's bad for business, these wars that blacks and Mexicans are having, is bad for business with the Mexicans. I understand what he's saying. That's an argument, but that should not be the reason to end these wars or end any conflicts between the two based on an economy, based on money, because that's a fragile resolution. And if it's based on that, then it can ignite again quickly. It has to be based on respect, out of knowing history and out of love. For humanity and love for one another, based on let's not kill one another because we want to clean up the economy or help support their economy. That's not going to do it.
You think about the conflict between blacks and Mexicans, right? But you got areas of
nobody bugs them. It's the fact that when you're bringing others to that area, then it starts becoming a problem, because again, the gangs get involved. The gangs from that area don't want them all coming into our area, because then they start kicking it, posting up, thinking it's their area.
What about when
and that's with any gang.
There were some blacks that moved into the Avenues areas. This is late 90s. We're talking about 20-something years ago. These black dudes weren't even in the gang. They just lived there. I think it was 3 brothers over the course of a year, all got gunned down. They weren't from no gang.
I heard of it.
So we got so many examples. We can go back and forth on this all day long. It's got to come to an end.
Yeah, I don't know about that. The Avenue thing, I don't know what locked up.
Well,
all I know is
I will say this on one of the Avenues things.
Yeah, in the 1990s, there's a gang called the Avenues, and like the northeast section of Los.
Yeah, the Avenues were out there tripping, man.
Maybe even more, but I'll just stick with. Or you're gonna say, okay,
more than it's ever been. Because when I was a youngster, I got called a spick
by the whites in Burbank.
In Burbank. Remember, if you tell me the story, I told you that story. So I can say in my life, I've probably been discriminated 5 times in my whole life. I'm not the type of person that thinks, because that dude got at me, it's racial. Or he says something, it's racial. I look at it like, okay, I got tattoos. Look at the way I look. I wouldn't want me around my kids or certain areas thinking his dude's up to no good. But I can understand that, but I don't think everything's racial.
Oh, well, a lot of stuff is racial. Like I say, I've seen it. Hey, man, you ain't from the hood. These Jamaicans were told they got ran out of.
It's because of this. It's because of that. No, it's not. It's not always based on race. A lot of it has a lot of things to do with things that somebody else doesn't know about.
Yeah, that does happen a lot. But I know specifically, like in the Torrance area, the Mexicans were attacking blacks down there, and these aren't black gang members. When you see blacks that are not gang members now being targeted, then you know this must be race. Now, if it's a gang thing, like in Long Beach, there's a possibility that the black-brown conflict in Long Beach is all gang.
Yeah,
it might not have anything to do with race, but of course, you can't ignore
race.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with race in Long Beach. The Longos are out there, basically pushing NK. They're beefing with all Crip gangs out there, and it is very racial. And he says, the OG Mexican here says that, he's basically gaslighting, as far as I'm concerned, innuendos and implying that blacks are victims. Of course, this is a white supremacist talking point. He says that everything is not racial. When there's a conflict or someone has a problem with you, I don't just go to race. I got tattoos. I got this. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe it's not just my race. Well, you're a fool if you think that. It's your race, man. Because whites have tattoos too. Skinheads have tattoos and all kind of all sorts of stuff. And they'll still be accepted and loved and embraced in this country. So if you experience any acrimony, it's not because of your tattoos. You don't even have face tattoos. It's because this is a racist society. Your culture is anti-black. Just admit it and stop gaslighting and making it seem like black people are playing the victim when we say that there's racism over here, racism there. My God, you still don't think that you still don't see it? I get it that you people don't see it, but we know, we get it, we see it. It's a reason that we understand it.
Alex, because the Mexicans and
Street. And if you notice, all the indictments are of Latinos getting indicted.
Yeah, it's not
no blacks have been indicted for any hate crime.
That's not right. That's not right.
Well, I would say
the reason why Mexicans get federal charges on hate crimes because it's on the other hand, black prison gang.
Hey, and you know what's interesting? There's been a lot of indictments by the feds.
Yeah.
And in fact, in that case that I just mentioned, they indicted, because it's on camera too. They indicted like 3 or 4 Mexican dudes on that, and they indicted the guys down in 204th Street. And if you notice, all the indictments are of Latinos getting indicted.
Yeah, it's not
no blacks have been indicted for any hate crime.
That's not right. That's not right.
Well, I would say you have to show me an example of where a black attacked a Mexican that's not affiliated with the streets, like a straight up. Well, I guess when you see the Elota woman and things like that, yeah. Fortunately, no one's been killed in those, but you know what? Those might be those.
When Mexicans try to say when blacks rob,
he say that's not right. So blacks should be charged with hate crime too.
Further, the OG vendor structure, like I said, it makes it. For the most part, we respond.
The winner last. That was it.
And what does the CDC do at that point? They just find another celly?
Yeah, but you go in there and make a cell request to move, and you find like a cell.
And keep in mind, Sonny is the same individual said that the raza needs to march. I'm talking
black, right?
Right.
Okay.
I turned it out on black, so I'm gonna be completely honest.
Sonny said he was locked up, man. This black dude had some cookies, and the black dude tried to offer him.
And you turned it down because he was black, right?
Right.
Okay.
I turned it out on black, so I'm gonna be completely honest.
Yeah.
He hands homeboy. Homeboy takes a piece and eats it. I just look at him. Okay. So we go back to the cell. I told him, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he goes, "Well, what are you talking about?" And I go, "You ate from the black dude." And he goes, "Oh, nobody ever told me nothing." I go, "Dude, you're from Paramount. You're from LA County. You're going to tell me you didn't ever heard that?" And he goes, "Oh, wow. No, dude, get your crap. Go. You got to get out." So I made him move out.
So it's possible if he was about 18 years old, it's possible that he might not have understood that rule.
Not if he went to LA County.
Because look, Paramount's not too far from Compton, not too far from Linwood, and the blacks and the browns are pretty thick. And he was probably listening to rap music,
No, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But if he went to LA County, that's one of the first things they tell you walk in. You don't eat with blacks. Period.
Now that's one rule. That's one regla that I disagree with. I understand it exists, but that's one rule that if I was ever in.
See, he just said that's a main rule. You don't eat with blacks. You don't do nothing with blacks. And
yeah, but that's not a rule for Whitey. He wouldn't accept a cookie, and that's the rule that they have in there. We don't eat together. We don't do anything together. We don't sit together. It's very racist. It's very racial. These prison systems, county jail systems, excuse me, we are extremely segregated. We just are. But they'll sit down and eat with the whites. We got into a riot in YA because they was over there. The Mexicans was, saying that they was going to eat first, because they didn't want to eat after us. We had a big old little spread, like the police had brought it in. Some little stuff was going on. A lot of food from the street. We wanted that food from the street, after eating all that trash food in there. And it was a whole bunch of stuff, buckets of stuff. We go over there to eat. They talking like They say, no, we got to eat first because we can't eat after y'all. Well, we can't eat after y'all either then. What are you talking about? And it's up from there.
You can get beat down or stabbed. Like, I've seen Mexicans get beat down.
The county, that's one of the first things they tell you when you walk in. You don't eat with blacks, period.
Now that's one rule. That's one regla that I disagree with. I understand it exists, but that's one rule that if I was ever in the penitentiary, and I'd probably get killed, but I'd probably say, I would say, this is one of the stupidest rules y'all got. I'm not abiding by this rule. And of course, I'd probably get hit.
But see, and let's be honest, every rule that we have is raza. The blacks have the same rule.
Yeah, but I think that
we enforce it more than the blacks.
Blacks would probably have a less of a complaint of sharing food with a brown.
But they will. There are some blacks that will enforce it and say, hey, you're not.
Alex Alonso is right. Blacks don't really trip off stuff like that. It's really the Mexicans. Like, if Mexicans don't eat, we got phones that we eat, and some of them got.
But they will. There are some blacks that will enforce it and say, hey, you're not supposed to be eating with it.
They probably enforce it because they know that Raza's enforcing it that hard.
Right. So, and then the reason being is because the less interaction we have with a different race, the less problems it's going to cause.
I get it. But some of those rules and politics spill into the streets. And now you grew up with a black dude or grew up with a brown kid when you was in elementary. And now when you're in junior high, high school, you're told, oh, you can't hang out with that dude anymore. And you're like, why?
Yeah, man, because I knew Mexicans from.
Oh, man. Yeah, okay. So there you have it, man. Shout out to King Supreme TV. Once again, go check him out. Shout out to Alex Alonso and OG Mexican there. You know, some of us are set in our ways, man. You know, we've been going through a lot of stuff, a lot of different situations, a lot of different wars with one another. And it's going to take a lot of work to mend any fences at the end of the day. For so many different reasons. It's not going to be handled in one video or one conversation. It's a deep, very deep conversation that has to go on. And a lot of the conversations have just been on the surface level. It's a very deep conversation. The anti-black culture needs to be addressed. And some things in the black community need to be addressed. But it's okay. At the end of the day, my focus anyway is black people uniting, first of all, and having peace amongst one another and getting along. That's it. Everything else and everyone else, you know, they'll come along when it's time. But for right now, we can't necessarily have peace or be worried about peace or focus on peace and unification with any other group until we have peace amongst one another. Until we get our stuff together so that these other groups can respect us before we come to the table with peace. Right now, we will be probably coming from an inferior position where they don't feel like they have to respect anything that we're saying because they know that we're so frazzled and fractured. No, once we unify and come together ourselves as a people, and then when we come to the table, we will be coming to the table with strength. And it's just about race pride and self-love and race love at the end of the day. Unfortunately, this is the way that the world wants it. This is the way that the world has had it. Instead of having human love and love for every human being, they've made it to where it's segregated and separated, and you have to fight and love your own people. Okay, well, so be it. I didn't do this. I didn't start this shit. I just know what it is. And since it's what it is, I'm just going to abide by the rules. So first, let's unify ourselves, unite as one, as a people, strengthen ourselves in our position, and then we can worry about having peace and all that amongst everyone else. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay safe and stay free, people.